I'm 82 years old, and only recently have I truly admitted something to myself. Life was much shorter than I spent a lifetime willing to face. Not the kind of short people talk about in books, not the kind you hear in sayings, but the kind you feel in your own body. Mornings arrive too quickly now. Nights come too close together, and I'm still trying to catch up. I'm sitting alone as I say this. Not to create drama, just stating a fact. The house is quiet, quieter than I ever imagined it would be. When I was younger, I thought old age would mean slowing down, settling in, maybe even feeling at ease. I never imagined this kind of emptiness. Not empty rooms, but empty spaces where people used to be. When you're young, time doesn't feel urgent. In my 20s and 30s, I always believed there would be time later. Time to live properly. Time to be present. Time to get to the things that really mattered once everything else was under control. I didn't think I was avoiding life. I thought I was being responsible. I worked hard. That part is true. I showed up, did what was expected of me, and tried not to fail the people who depended on me. I told myself that was love in its own way, providing, enduring, staying busy. My days looked almost identical. Wake up, rush through the morning, work until I was exhausted, come home quiet, sleep, repeat. Even weekends were just about recovering enough to do it all again. I kept telling myself real life would start later. At the time, there were people around me. A wife who slowly stopped sharing what she felt. Children who grew up while I was busy being reliable. Friends I kept postponing with promises of catching up soon. I didn't feel like I was losing anyone. I felt like everything was under control. Saying I'm busy made me feel important, even justified. Busy meant needed. Busy meant valuable. The cost didn't show up loudly. It never does. It arrived quietly. A child who no longer asked for my opinion. A wife who no longer waited for my attention. Phone calls that stopped coming. Evenings that felt hollow, though I couldn't explain why. I told myself it was normal, that this was just what adulthood looked like. I filled the silence with television, with routine, with excuses, never realizing connection was slipping away. One afternoon stayed with me. I came home early for once. The sun was still out. She was in the kitchen, washing dishes that were already clean. We talked about nothing important, weather, errands, plans that never became real. There was a distance between us that neither of us crossed. The next day I went back to work. At the time, it meant nothing to me. Years later, it means everything. Then she got sick. It happened faster than I expected, faster than I was prepared for. In that hospital room, holding her hand, I realized how many words I had saved for later. Apologies, gratitude, Love, I assumed, didn't need to be spoken. Suddenly, nothing felt obvious anymore. Everything felt unfinished. When she died, the world didn't stop. That surprised me. Cars still drove by, people still went to work, days continued as usual. My life changed completely, but the world moved on without noticing. That's when clarity finally arrived. Too late. I saw my life clearly for the first time, stripped of noise and distraction. And I understood how much time I had spent assuming there would always be more. Some things can't be repaired. Time doesn't rewind. Conversations don't restart. You can't return to tables that no longer exist, or explain yourself to people who are gone. I still speak to my children, but it's different now. They are kind. They check in. But their lives are full, and I stand at the edges of them. I often wish I had been more present when they were small enough to need me in ways they don't anymore. Loneliness in old age isn't just about being alone. Sometimes it's about being surrounded by memories you can't step back into. About realizing the version of yourself who had time didn't understand its value. About wishing you could speak to that man and ask him to slow down just once. If you're listening to this, I don't know where you are in your life. I don't know what you're chasing or postponing. I only know how it feels to look back and realize how often I said later. Later turned out to be much shorter than I ever imagined. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I don't have instructions. I only know this. The things that felt least urgent were the ones that mattered most. The moments I treated as interruptible are the ones I miss now. Life doesn't wait for clarity. It doesn't care how busy you are. It keeps moving, one ordinary day at a time, until suddenly there aren't many days left. I don't have much time now, but I have some. I try to use it differently. I sit more. I listen longer. I stop defending the past and accept it for what it was. If any of this meant something to you, that's enough. I'm not trying to leave a lesson behind. I'm just finally being honest. Life wasn't cruel. It was brief. And I spent far too much of it believing I had all the time in the world.